Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Micah and Steve.
Hello, hello, hello.
And welcome back to another exciting episode
Of Live,
Let Thrive.
What is up, Micah man?
I'm chilling. Stevie Stacks, how you doing?
Oh, doing great. Ready to get after it. This is episode 181 of your favorite Airbnb, VRBO, HomeAway, Lyft, Uber, all that share economy stuff podcast in the world. And we have a special guest today.
Who we got, Steve?
Miss Cynthia Tant, Dr. Cynthia Tant, PhD. Our first doctor on the show, right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Who's Cynthia, you ask? Well, I got a little write-up for you. Dr. Cynthia Tant is broker owner of Gulf Coast Home Experts, Gulf Coast B&B Rentals, Gulf Coast Real Estate Management, 2014 WCR Realtor of the Year. She served as the 2016 president of WCR for Pensacola Bay chapter as a seasoned real estate broker owner. Doc started in STR 4 years ago, now owns 8 properties and manages 2. Loves the STR business, but integrates it with her 2 other companies. One-stop shop to buy, sell, rent, lease, manage. Plus, she is located in the beautiful Emerald Coast of Florida. Welcome to the show, Cynthia.
Well, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you inviting me and bringing me on board this show.
Yeah, our pleasure. So, what are you a doctor in, first of all?
Biomechanics.
Wow.
Has nothing to do with real estate.
That is crazy. See, were you in that field for a long time?
20 years. Yeah, I'm a little bit older than you guys. So this is my second career as a real estate professional.
So how did you go from biomechanics to real estate?
I started investing in the real estate market back in the early 90s. And as I was investing, I started realizing that it was pretty lucrative, but I was also teaching people how to invest in real estate, but I wasn't getting paid for it. So I said, well, why don't we just become a realtor and start that process? And that's how I ended up where I'm at now.
Nice. Now, did you start your real estate career there at the Emerald Coast?
I did. Yes, I did in 2000. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good year to start.
Been around a while.
Yeah. So and so why did you start there? Is that where you just always lived, or you vacationed there and loved it and wanted to invest there?
Well, I'm a native Floridian. I left the state for 10 years while I was teaching, or while I was getting my PhD, and when I was teaching at Iowa State University. Well, I'm a native Floridian, so you could tell that I was not real keen on the sub-zero temperatures in Iowa. So I had a chance to come back and teach here at the university where I graduated from, and I ended up here. And my brother and I started investing in real estate and got involved in it, and just made the decision to switch over and go from there. It has its ups and downs, but just love the short-term rental market right now, and especially that the picture behind me is our beach.
Wow.
That is something that we are a lot of people don't know that this is our beach. We're kind of still a little secret. And so I just stayed here, but I was, I came to college here in the late 70s, came back as a professor in the 80s, and then I just came back and stayed around.
Nice. And what beach is that, by the way?
This is Pensacola Beach.
Right.
So it's on the Gulf Coast. We're right next to the Alabama-Florida line in the Panhandle. This is the Gulf of Mexico.
Country band, Alabama, Florida line or something?
The Floribama Lounge, if you've heard about Floribama, if you ever heard about that bar. Well, half the bars in Florida, half the bars in Alabama. And in April, we have this very southern ritual of throwing dead fish across the border to see who can throw the fish the farthest. And 65,000 people show up to do it. So it's a real festive activity. Yes. The mullet toss.
Never heard of that.
We're known for that. You look it up. It's a big one.
So what kind of property did you invest in first?
Well, originally my brother and I got into multifamily, historical homes. Pensacola took over the notoriety, I guess, of being the first settlement in Florida or in the United States away from St. Augustine. So we found some archaeological digs and took that over. So we have a very large historical area here of historical homes. And my brother and I, we bought a couple of those, which were turned into long-term rentals. And then we bought a beach house and very fortunate to sell it 2 months before Hurricane Ivan wiped it off the beach. That was back in 2004. And just have stayed in the market of buying and selling and primarily holding, and now finding investors, houses that they would like to turn into short-term rentals, which in historical homes, we can put 4 to 6 units in one and people just love them. So.
Nice. Any questions, Micah?
Yeah. How many units are you operating on the
Right
short-term?
now, I personally own 8 and operate, and then I manage 2 of the beach condos. But I personally have 8 that I have invested in do myself. Yes.
Oh, wow. So a total of 10. Now,
Yes.
and are all of them on the beach or?
Just 2. The 2 that I manage are on the beach. All the rest of mine are in town. And we just secured another historical home down the street from my office for another investor for short-term rental, and he'll have 5 units in there once we close in a month.
Now, how are those historical homes doing? Because I'm actually looking to invest in a historical area, but the issue I kept running into, you're limited on what you can do on the rehab, right? So, how are those historical homes doing?
I think it's where you may be located. Yes, externally, there are going to be rules and regulations based on the historical appearance. You can't paint, things like that. You do have to get permits to do things on the outside. Inside, you can just pretty much renovate, do whatever you want to. My house that I'm in right now that you don't see because it's a mess in the background, but it's 120 years old. I use one of my suites I use for my business. My upstairs suite is a long-term rental, and my 2 units in the back are short-term rentals. People love the historical homes here. Now you got to make sure that there's going to be work to them because they're wood. They're all wood. So you are going to have to replace, unless the people before you have replaced the cast iron pipes, the wiring. But most of our homes right now have been renovated over the years. So when we have hurricanes, these houses are still standing. They're not getting wiped off the planet and wiped out of the beach or anything like that. They're all still standing. Mine's been here, 120 years. So I love the historical market because we're located we can walk straight downtown. Takes us 15 minutes, all the restaurants, everything, the activity. Plus we have a lot of historical, obviously, monuments and things like that to visit.
Nice.
So, very interesting market.
Now, is Pensacola a big spring break town?
No, we're not. We're a little bit further north. We do have a spring break market, but our biggest market is during the summer. And majority of the people that visit would be, we like to call them the Southeast Conference because it's where you can get to us within 5 to 6 hours. Yep. And visit and hang out for a week or on the weekends. We are the home of the Blue Angels, Navy team for the pilots for the aircraft. So we have 2 major shows each year here. We have, we have a ton of activities that go on here. I mean, COVID shut us down only for 2 months last year, was April and May. And then Florida opened back up in June. And we've been open ever since. So we just had a fire hydrant of everybody coming here. And I've been 95, 98% occupancy in all the units the whole time.
Yeah.
So,
nice. Yeah. We see on the news how the media pokes fun at you guys for opening it up and say, we don't care about COVID. But hey, say Texas is the same way, and I'm cool with it.
That's true. That's true.
You don't get into politics, but hey, we're open too, so it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I go back and forth to Dallas quite a bit. So,
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Oh, really? Okay.
What brings you to Dallas?
I've got a group of realtor friends that I work with out there. We share, in fact, two of them have bought properties here for short-term rentals. The one of the historical home is coming, and then the other one bought out on the beach back in October. So they're looking for investment properties to invest in, obviously. And our market's very different. What part of Texas are you guys in? Are you?
DFW.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay, so you know how expensive your homes are there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts there. The historical home that we just got under contract was for 500,000, and it has 5 units in it, and it'll pull between 10 to 11,000 a month in B&B rentals income. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And our average sale price, since I'm a realtor, and that's how I integrate my 3 companies together, is that our average sale price is $295, not including the beaches. Now the beaches are a little bit higher, but in town, $295 is our average house price.
That's not too bad.
So, yeah, so people can actually get into the market, even if they're doing long-term rentals without, going like Dallas, where you're spending 100,000 over list price and kind of crazy stuff like that.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Now my
I know.
question. Now,
Sure.
do your historical homes on a year-round basis, do they do just as good as the beach homes, or which one is
They
better?
do better. They do better because they're not cyclic for the people just going to the beach. The beach condos just going to the beach to vacation during the summer and maybe special events, weddings, things like that. In town, we have a big military community. So we have people coming in and out all the time visiting. A lot of people like to stay in the downtown or the historical area because they are coming to sightsee. They're not coming here for just the beach. Most of the time on the beach, you go out to the beach for a week, you're going to be out at the beach. So we do have a pretty good year round. Because I've been doing this now, this is my 4th year going into what we call the off season, which is from October till about March, because it gets chillier here than it does in South Florida. And we'll get snowbirds that come like from January, February, March. So sometimes we'll rent the beach condos much less than we would on a regular B&B short-term rental price during those 3 months.
Okay, so during your guys' snowbird season, how exactly does that work? Are you guys leasing them out for weeks at a time, or is it just the occupancy goes low?
No, we'll rent them out for like a month at a time.
Okay.
We have a lot of traveling nurses and physical therapists and things like that that'll come in, and they actually will pay prime dollar. And then some of my other rentals, I allow pets because I have fenced in backyards. They're always full. So, but
yeah, that's big time. So excuse me. My question to you would be, all right, it's hard enough for someone to have one successful business. First of all, how did you get that one business to run smoothly and everything go good where you're not having to micromanage everything? And then how did you go and do making it 3 successful businesses?
Yeah, that's what most people ask me. I have a very good group of a support group. I have a broker associate for the sales business who helps out with the agents and anything that I like to travel a lot. So I'm kind of on the tail end of my career. So retirement is in the future real shortly. So I have a broker associate that handles the sales part of it. The long-term rental management company, I have a property manager. He's also my maintenance guy. We're not big. We only handle 65 doors, but that's long-term management. I enjoy doing the short-term rental management. But I also have a transaction coordinator that assists me with that. And I'm bringing on a new person because we're going to grow a little bit. So she's coming on to do all of the check-ins, check-outs, that sort of thing that I don't do anymore. So, it's been a learning experience, and not everything has gone smoothly through the years. But the one thing I found is in any real estate market, you have your ups and downs, and what has stayed steady is the long-term rental market. Everything's full. We don't have any vacancies at all. So if we're not making money or producing income in the sales avenue, then now we have the long-term rental management that carries us through. And then I added the short-term rental management, which has been more successful than I ever thought. And the side note of that is, and I didn't even think of this when I started it, is the people who visit, guests that come are looking to buy houses. And so I've sold 15 houses in the past 2 years to guests that have come in to just buy a single family home. Not necessarily that they were looking for a rental to rent or anything, or to use for Airbnbs, because our military community goes back and forth. They'll come in and I show them houses, or one of my agents does, and we'll get them a nice house.
Yeah, I love that. That's like one of those things, like how Steve was asking about the businesses. You've used one business to multiply the other one. See, and I thought about that too, because I get people all the time who will book in Dallas saying, hey, I'm looking for a house and we just need to stay a month. I'm like, geez, if I was a realtor, I could make some money off that. But that's a great thing you've done there.
And actually my group in Dallas has helped me put this together. It's a mastermind group, and they've helped me put this whole thing together, where it was really scattered 2 years ago because things are all over the place, where I've been able to put it together to make it more of a circle where everything's feeding into it. So if someone does want to become an investor, then I can actually help them for the long term, because if they don't want to do short-term rentals, I can manage their property long-term, or I can manage their property short-term. And if I do find an investor group that is interested in investing in the market here, then I'm just looking for properties for them. And then I'll manage it short-term or long-term, so it actually feeds into like a little hub. The way we look at it is it's feeding all into the middle of the hub, but it's using all three. And then I do have a rehab company on the side. I don't do any of that. It's just when we get ready to do it. I've got all the maintenance people, but I've been in the market here for 20 years. So I have all my maintenance people. I have my cleaners that just started, but I do have a good group that have been cleaning houses for me in the past, clean outs. Maintenance, HVAC, roofers, plumbers. That team is really very important in this market in short-term rentals. And I've been fortunate enough to have a very good group with me for a substantially long period of time.
Okay. Now, what area? You said you guys are growing this year. Are you guys growing in the same area, or are you expanding into other markets?
Actually staying close to home right now. Even when I was buying more with my brother in the early years, we stayed really close to home because we knew the market. But if you don't know the panhandle of Florida, from Alabama all the way over to Panama City, is very beautiful beaches, vacation rentals. We're short-term rental communities, so we don't get the hassles in the cities that are trying to enforce, no short-term rentals and things like that. So we can move over 4 different counties and be able to do more of that. And that's kind of what I'm doing. But I've had people ask me to be out of state. I'm actually going to Knoxville next week. A friend of mine wants me to come and talk with her about it. Another wants me to talk with her about it in Austin. And so, but I don't know the markets, but they're both realtors. So they're kind of looking at it from the same standpoint that I am, or that I have already created, as to how they can create that and do it in their own community.
Knoxville's great. Austin's strict. Go ahead, Steve.
Really?
Oh yeah, Austin's super strict.
Yeah.
Is it true that in Texas, even in a short-term rental, you have to have a broker's real estate license?
No.
I heard that. I didn't think so, because I've stayed in Airbnbs in Dallas, and I know those people didn't have a real estate license.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah. Somebody told me that, and I said, no, I don't think so.
Now to do property, just like regular long-term property management in Texas, you have to have a real estate
That's my
license.
Gulf Coast real estate management company. That's long-term regular property management. Yeah.
Right. Which is funny, right? Because like I just, if you step back and look at it, doing short-term rental management is way more intensive than doing long-term rental management. Because long-term, you get the people in there, they're there for a year, something, sink or toilet, you send somebody to go fix it. At Airbnb or short-term rental, every single day something crazy could happen. So it's like it's way more intensive and way more, and you don't need anything to do that. You don't need a license or nothing.
No, well, you're correct, but I think because I have that already support group from my long-term rental management, for example, I've got an HVAC guy that I had to turn my one house. I had to turn it. I had 4 hours to turn it, and my HVAC went out. And I called him up, and he went to my house and he put a brand new HVAC system in that 4 hours.
Whoa.
Now, where do you get that to happen? And then he says, "Hey, you owe me $1,800." I said, "What?" I know the eyeballs are there. And but see, I give him so much business of referrals that whenever I call him, he's at my door.
Good
So
thing to be in.
It's a relationship.
the
business.
relationship business is very, very, what you need. It's all the relationships, even short-term, long-term, whatever it is. Yeah.
See, now, Steve, you brought up the short term and the long term thing. So you, as being a property manager, I know it's going to be more work on the short term side. But like after that guest has moved out, the person's moved out after the whole year. Is it more work to have to go in there after a year? This person's been in there messing stuff up. Then on the short term side, everything's being turned over.
It depends on the
Well,
person.
it depends it depends on the person. Now, we do a pretty good job of screening people on the way in.
Mm-hmm.
Things do happen. People have issues. But we do a pretty good job of screening on the way in. And we also do a pretty good job of staying up on mechanical issues, and letting them know to contact us. We also do something that a lot of long-term property managers may not do, and sometimes not all of our owners do it, but we offer quarterly pest control because we have stinking bugs in Florida, big bugs, And so we do a quarterly pest control so that my pest team goes out and checks the places to see what they look like, more or less. And so not only are we stopping the pest from being around, but we're also like going and spraying under a counter, and there's a bowl under the counter because they haven't told us they have a leaking faucet. Then we can get it fixed and stopped and do a lot of things like that. It's again in the communication with our tenants and just making sure they understand us and we understand them. And we have very few evictions. Even during COVID, we had, I think, 1 out of the 65 that we had to worry about that didn't pay their rent. But again, our rents are relatively low too. I mean, we can have from $450, down a month, all the way up to about, 2,500 is about the max that you're going to find here. So
now you've been in the real estate game for a while, and you've seen some booms and busts. And do you see any red flags or alarms like in our current, crazy real estate? Everything's shooting up, every single day. Do you see anything red flags that, oh crap, a crash might happen?
This is the craziest market I've ever seen in my life. And we all admit it, that there's never been anything like it. Now, going back to 2005 and 6, was the thing back then was everybody was getting a mortgage at 100% that couldn't afford it. Now people, the mortgages are a lot tighter. A lot of people have equity in their houses. We don't think there's going to be a bust. And everybody keeps saying, what about foreclosures and short sales and stuff like that? It may be coming in 2022, but nothing like back in what we saw in 2007, 6, or 7 and 8, when everything was going up like 40%. And then it went down just as fast as it went up. Because if you look back then, the houses were so overvalued. The people should not have been buying those houses, and that's why they lost them. And I think even though money's cheap right now, to be able to get a mortgage, you basically have to have good credit. You have to have a good job. You have to put some kind of money down unless it's VA. But I don't see any red flags where it's going to be anything like that. We just need some houses to sell. We have no inventory. We have plenty of buyers, but we have no inventory.
So how did 2008 affect your business?
Oh gosh, I was dead. Dead. Yeah, I went a whole year without doing much, but 2005, 2006 was just amazing. So I was able to get through it, and that's why I'm still here. Whereas a lot of agents are not, a lot of realtors are not. And then I started my own company 10 years ago, 11 years ago, right when the oil spill, BP oil spill came in, right in that beautiful white beach, put oil all out there. And so I couldn't believe it. I opened it up like a month before the oil spill. But got through that. BP gave us each, I think they gave us $50,000 as realtors. We had to just apply for it and they gave it to us. So that got us through a little bit through that period.
So 0506, you said you did really good and that held you over.
Yeah.
Were you getting like cash flowing properties? How did that, what were you doing?
Properties, I had all my properties too back then. Yeah. Well, actually, no, that's when we sold. I bought all the properties in 94, 95, sold in 2005. So the ones I bought for, you guys this is going to kill you. Okay. So I bought 2 duplexes and a triplex for $62,000 total in 1994. Okay, so that's 7 doors and great area. I had to go in and do some, renovation and stuff like that, but then sold them off. I still have 1 duplex, which I actually is an Airbnb, and but sold them off and stupid prices in 2005 and 6. One duplex we sold for 140. The triplex I think was 200. Yeah. So yeah.
And now they're worth double the price.
Oh
now.
yeah. And then absolutely. And then had a couple of historical homes that bought for $85,000 each. Put money into them, but they were completely paid off because they were long-term tenants. And one we sold for $425 and one was $415. So we did pretty good. And that's my brother. My brother and I did pretty good. So
go ahead, Steve.
Oh, this is the what?
Power of real estate. That's why I love it, man. It never stops. Go ahead.
I guess it's cool. You got some valuable lessons for people that are a lot of our listeners are just getting into it, right? Getting into short-term rentals, and they're excited about it. I mean, right now, kind of if you do a decent job, if you get a nice place in a decent spot, put some good furniture in it, you're gonna profit from day one. I mean, it's just it's that simple. But I guess my fear is a lot of them is, oh, this is easy. I'm going to get a bunch, going to get going, and they're going to put all their eggs in one basket. I see how you got yours spread out to different things. So what kind of advice do you have to people out there that say, oh, this short-term rentals, that's the way to go. They're going to dive straight in and do 100% that and just only that. And what advice would you give those people?
Well, the first thing, the 2 that I do for other people, I've actually sold those to them. So I don't go out and seek other properties right now at the present time that I don't actually know the owner from some way or something, like going out and asking another owner who may have a long-term rental to convert. So I don't do, what is it, arbitrage or something like that? I don't go into that. Now I know other people very successful at that. I just haven't done that. As far as how you want to get started in the short-term rental market, if you are able to own one or own a house yourself. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've rented out rooms from other people when I've been traveling. I've done it that way. I personally don't rent out just a room. I rent out complete houses and stuff. But that's a way to get started to see if you even like it. Start small, unless you have godly amount of money that you can go out there and, buy it and stuff like that. But you're right. It does take, when I have started all mine, I've had to do the whole furniture. I mean, from scratch, from nothing. Now, again, I have other resources coming in. So but then you can turn that depending on your area. Now, I'm in a vacation resort town. it's a very good area to do short-term rentals. Depending on where I always tell people, especially an investor or even buying your own house, you make your money when you buy your house. You buy in the best area, or the area where you may have the ugliest house on the block, but then you're going to have the best return and the best investment once you do that. A lot of people I've got right now, so many buyers are so anxious to buy a house. They're looking in places that, no, we're not going to do that, because they're first time home buyers and they're paying outrageous amount for it. And they go, but why? I go, well, let's talk about it, So I'm more cautious with people buying. I don't want to sell somebody something that it's going to hurt them in the long run. We just sold a house today, or just closed on a house today. A young military man, he bought it 18 months ago. He made $78,000 in 18 months. He's a happy camper. Yeah.
Can't beat that.
So, yeah. So, and his house was in a great neighborhood, single guy, had a pool, tiki bar out back, and that he was set, pilot, of course. But the way I look at people is I want to make sure that, because I'm a teacher by heart, so I educate people. I'm not a coach or anything. I get coaching and stuff, but I'm not a coach or anything. I offer my services for free just because I love it. And I did a podcast with Jasper. Oh man, what paid for your pad?
Get paid for your pad.
Yeah. Get paid for your pad with Jasper. And and I have 3 investors have come from that podcast because of just the education of what I do and how to make that happen, And again, I think it works out. You give back to the community. And again, if I can find something that will benefit you, it's all good. So.
Yeah, that's where I heard you. That's where I reached out to you from. Get paid for your pad. Yeah. That was a great episode.
That's the one. Yeah.
So,
you've had good questions too. You've had real good questions about going back to getting started. I wouldn't try anything crazy to start with. Look at your numbers. If you are going to buy, find yourself a real estate agent who is an investor who also works in short-term rentals, just like I am, because they know, just don't go out and get a realtor who's going to sell you a house, because they're not going to give you the numbers and they're not going to know what's going on. Do your research, find out, who's in the community. There's plenty of us. And you'll do much better. That's how I got started in my investing. I had a fantastic realtor who, what she couldn't buy, she told my brother and I, look, you got to buy this. And we did. We just took her advice. So
I'm so happy you brought that up, because I think in the last 3 or 4 years, me and Steve have been telling people, especially in the DFW market, if you don't know short-term rentals and you're a realtor, it can be a very big success for you if you learned it, and then you'd have a bigger pool of buyers and people that you can educate. And I'm happy you're doing that. That's awesome.
Yep. I'll be back. I'll be in Dallas December, I think. I'll have to come meet you guys. We'll have to get together and go have a cocktail or something.
Sure.
That'd be great. So you get I've been to Destin. I love Destin. Do you don't service that far, that area?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Now I don't, it's not my primary sales market. But one of my stories I like to tell people is, this has been about 10 years ago. I got an email lead way back then, before social media was really going or anything, just an email lead. And a guy said that he wanted to go find a condo in Destin, but he only wanted to pay $250,000 on the water. I go, well, that's not going to happen. Even back 10 years ago. Right.
Yeah.
So I showed him, quote, the $250,000 condos. And he goes, oh no, this isn't going to work. So by the time 3 hours was over with, we were up to 500,000, 400,000 for the condo and 100,000 for the boat slip on the Destin Bay there, Destin Harbor. And he paid 500 cash for it. So that was a really good story of not knowing much about the over there and 3 hours. And then the next week he brought the cash and we closed on it. So,
Wow.
yeah. But, you know, Panama City, going over to Panama City is a much more spring break area. It used to be pretty wild and crazy. They've kind of toned that down a little bit. Much more condos, a lot more condos over there. To our west, Perdido Key, and going into Gulf Shores, Alabama, and more condos on the beach. Pensacola Beach has a lot of houses, a lot of beach houses. We have condos, but a lot of beach houses.
You know, it's funny. Well, not funny. It's before COVID, people, almost everybody knew they were going on their summer trips or their whatever spring trips. They were going to, let's go to Mexico. We'll go to Cancun. We'll go to, Puerto. We'll go to, they wanted to go to the beaches in Mexico. They got all inclusives and all that stuff. And then COVID hit, and they're like, but people still wanted to go to the beach. They still want to get their beach time in. I bet that drove I know in South Padre, which I go a lot to, it drove it up like crazy. I know it must have been like insane, like double the business in Florida.
Well, I had just picked up the beach ones, so I don't have much to compare to before that, but I was in town, was still fine. It's just people could drive to us. They didn't have to get on a plane. And all of my units were separate units. They didn't want to be in a hotel because our hotel industry was still open. But they didn't want to be around a lot of people. So, but they were here, even though the beaches are open, you can spread yourself around, So yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, when they opened the state up June 1st, it was just like, wham. Everything we had was just booked solid out. And it's been like that up until now. I mean, it's still going strong. So
yeah, I think it did have a profound effect on travel because, like, hey, they don't want to stay in a hotel full of 1,000 different people with 1,000 different coughs and sneezes. We'll stay with our family. We'll get a nice unit just for us on the beach, and then we'll all pitch in. And I think that's the future of travel.
I do too. I think it's changed the way a lot of people do think of travel. And if your units are clean, they expect it because we go above and beyond we still do the COVID precautions. We do extra cleaning and disinfecting, they get a cleaner place. And they may not get daily towel service, but they don't expect it because that's not what we tell them. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We haven't seen a slowdown at all. So.
So with COVID in place and a lot of people doing like the remote home working thing, did that help out your snowbird season?
Yes, a lot of digital nomads. Yep. I had several of my places booked for a month, that they were just finding a place to hang out for the month while they're working from home, from their room or from whatever they rented out. The traveling nurses and the traveling physical therapists and stuff. All of them are doing the same thing. If they're in one place for 3 months, they'd rather be in a nice place on the beach than, staying in a motel. They'd rather have their own condo or their own house. Yeah. But yeah, I've got most of the places set up to have high-speed Wi-Fi, of course, and desks and things like that.
Now, in the Panhandle, where have you seen the most success on the short-term rental side? Like what beach city or which city in the Panhandle?
We're all about the same. We have very different personalities. As far as Destin and 30A is more, I guess you would say, the socialite group, the higher end. I mean, and it tells in the prices. You're on the same beach. It's that same blue water right behind me. It's the same white sands. It's the same blue water. But Destin per night, maybe $150 to $200 more per night than what we have on Pensacola Beach. And it's just because it's not that, I don't know what the word is. It's just a beach. I mean, it's a cool beach. It's what a beach should be like, what I think of as a beach,
And I think Destin has that kind of that travel stigma behind it, I think, as well. That may be it. I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for.
And we have a closer airport to Pensacola. We have a Pensacola airport. Destin does not, so you still have to fly into Fort Walton. And then we opened up one over in Panama City there now too. But we got a beach you come right to, you get right on and walk down one little lane and you're out the front door and you're off to the beach. So not a very big airport.
Yeah, we need to get into Pensacola for sure. Because I was always thinking,
you guys, absolutely. You guys know me now. Just send me in for come here and I'll get you set up. Hang out at the beach or in town. We'll do it.
The SEC connection, Micah. See, Micah's
Yes,
I know. Not LSU. I'm a Florida Gator, but Well, look. Let me tell you, Texas and Oklahoma. No, wait. Who's joining the SEC? Yeah,
Texas and Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
I don't know.
Isn't that going to be crazy?
I don't know. I think Texas is backing out as bad as Arkansas beat them.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, they might.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, when A&M and Missouri joined us, I'm going, why do you want to go to A&M? I mean, it's like everything else is on this side of the country, and now we're going over to A&M, So it'll be interesting because, whoa. Anyways.
Yeah. How do you think your Saints are going to do this year?
Well, man, I can't believe the first game against the Bucks. I said, what the heck? Or Green Bay. I said, what the heck just happened? And then this week we did okay. I don't know about Jameson Winston. I'm not a big fan. I mean, I'm a Breeze fan all the way.
He's pretty good when he has his contacts in.
Yeah. But we'll have to see on that one. But I do have tickets for the Saints Bucks game on Halloween, so I'm excited.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
That'll be a good game.
Halloween in New Orleans. Come on. And you got the Saints playing the Bucks. Come on.
We'll hit up Bourbon Street. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Got our motel room. We're set. We're gonna get in early Sunday morning and just cruise and hang out Sunday night and come back to work on Monday. So it's a three and a half hour drive over to New Orleans. So we're close.
Really? From where?
Yeah. From Pensacola.
That's
Look at the map. 3.5 hours. Yeah.
My mind might be out. Dang, that ain't bad at all.
It's not far at all. We're a 5-hour drive up to Atlanta. We're pretty close in. That's why we have this little bubble or half bubble of people that can drive to us within 5 or 6 hours. This is an easy day drive to come.
Ooh. See, now that has me wondering because I'm mainly trying to invest in markets that are more driven to.
Yeah. It's 10 hours from Dallas. So it is a 10-hour drive. But I mean, people just came in from Dallas that they just checked out and went back. They were here just for 4 days on the beach and they came in from Dallas. In fact, one of my owners on the beach is from Dallas. So yeah. Now Southwest says cheap flights. So you could just do Southwest down and then they're pretty cheap from Dallas. So
yeah, I work for an airline, so I can hop on a plane and get over there pretty easily.
There you go. Well, how many? I mean, you guys also have units, right? You've invested in doing it, and how long you both involved in?
Well, go ahead, Steve.
Oh yeah, I've been. I did my first short-term rental out of a house, out of one of my rental houses. So it was about 4 or 5 years ago. And then, and I had a couple of, and there were houses that were doing good. One was by the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, so it was kicking major.
The old one. I'm trying to remember.
The new stadium, the AT&T Stadium, over in Arlington, and then the billionaires started bringing in their hotels to Arlington, and they shut us all down. It was just a big coincidence. But anyways, so I turned that into back to a long-term rental, and then. I took a little break for a little bit, and then I started getting into the rental arbitrages. And so, we started picking up a bunch of rental arbitrages in Dallas and Fort Worth area, and one in Houston. So we're staying mostly in Texas, but I'd like to branch out, and I'd like to start, getting some. Yeah. I've always wanted to get a beach property just for me and my family to enjoy.
That's what Ian did. He wanted to come. Actually, he's going to be in here next week. His kids got their fall break or something, and they come out here once or twice a year. But the rest of the time is for the rental part of it. Yeah, that's why they got it. That was a dream for theirs, and they got a pretty good. I got them a pretty good price. And but do you have anything in Richardson? Do you have a place in Richardson?
I have something in far north Dallas. It's probably 10 minutes away from Richardson.
10 minutes, yeah. Because in December, the group has been trying to find a place to rent. How big is it?
Well, these are only 2-bedroom apartments.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're looking for a house.
No, I have a house out there in Plano. I'm sorry, I do have a house in Plano.
You have one in Plano?
Yeah,
We'll
I'll
have to
send it
talk.
to you.
We'll have to talk because it's a bunch of realtors, and instead of I'll stay in different motel rooms. We're just kind of hang out,
Okay.
in a house. So I'll tell you the dates and stuff. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I have one in.
We'll see if you got anything available.
Yeah, right there in Plano. That's mainly where I'm trying to actually expand out in Plano, Mansfield, and Grand Prairie. I'm starting to look in those areas. So,
Well, I mean, I got my PhD up at Texas Women's University in Denton, so I know the area.
okay.
And I taught at UTA for one semester down in Arlington. I lived there for a couple of years.
Really?
And so I know the DFW area pretty well.
I live in
And,
Arlington. That's awesome.
Okay. Yeah. I did my 1 year of public school teaching out of my 20 years of teaching. I just was either a college coach or I was coaching on or teaching on the college level, but I taught 1 year at public school at Young Junior High in Arlington. And I will never, ever do public school again, especially not in a junior high school. Let's just say that stopped me right then. When I went to get my PhD, I said, I'm done with this. Okay.
That is awesome.
But I was there when the old Dallas Stadium was, then yeah. So,
Yeah, over in Irving. Yeah.
Yeah.
They still haven't really done nothing with that area. It's prime real estate. So we'll see what they're gonna build over there.
That was when the blue laws, you couldn't drink alcohol around the stadium, which was kind of crazy. I don't know if they still have that or not, but
No, those mostly those are gone, and you still can't buy alcohol like hard liquor on Sundays. You still can't do that. But everything
they had it here. Yeah, they had it here for a while, and on the beach they're going, "Are you crazy?" So we got rid of that.
See, I've never been to I've never even seen the old stadium or been over there. So I really
wow.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it was right.
I was gonna say when I was there, a friend of mine was a helicopter pilot, so she took me up all around the city of Dallas, and we went right up above the stadium to look down, and it was pretty cool because we got to look in the. And then she was a contractor, so she went to show me one of the houses she was building, and we just hovered down in the backyard. And I said, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" So I should have done real estate back then, but I was a college professor, so I didn't go that route way back then.
So did they have music in the helicopter?
No.
Remember the opening scene to Dallas? They go over the stadium.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That was they just built that one in the middle of a mix, like a traffic mix master. It was weird.
Yeah,
it wasn't really nothing around it, They are doing a good job at the new stadium.
Yeah, because I've seen pictures of it, like the old pictures. It just looked like it was in the middle of the woods.
Well, wasn't the woods, but it was in the middle. Yeah. Well, I mean, and then the Rangers, they have their new stadium, and when I did my dissertation, this was back in, oh my God, I'm dating myself again, but in the 80s, I did I used the Dallas Sidekicks, the guys as my subjects.
Oh,
so
nice.
I did a motion analysis study of the soccer instep kick. So back then, you guys are going to die. I mean, I don't know if we're going to record this and keep this on or whatever, but I used a Apple IIe floppy disk, 5.25-inch floppy disk to collect my data, which took forever to do, versus now you can take your phone and do everything I did that took me 6 months to process on your phone in about 10 minutes. So
wow.
That's how technology's changed.
It's funny you said that. I just got this Apple, this from 2012 Apple MacBook Pro from a friend, pretty much just gave it to me. And I was just messing with I don't know what I did wrong. I wiped out I messed up the hard drive somehow, but I was able to go in there and YouTube it and did some GUI stuff to the hard drive. And then I was able to put on the operating system again. So I was like, oh, cool. I did some old school programming. This is nice.
There you go. Yeah. Really old school. Yeah.
That's what Micah does for a living, right? The computer engineer.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Network engineer.
Oh, I hated coding. Oh, I hated it. But it was way back in, oh God, I can't even remember now. Basic COBOL, assembly language. What else do we have to learn?
C++.
Not stuff that you have now. C++, yeah. But I think I stopped at that. I said, I don't want to do this.
I'm in the same boat now. I want to do real estate full time. That's I'm going hard to do real estate full time.
Well, the opportunities are definitely out there. if as long as you're educated and you've got a really good foundation in the numbers,
Mhm.
now obviously you don't have a crystal ball, and I tell everybody, I said, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen. Who knew the pandemic was going to hit, with COVID? But if you can, not put your whole life savings into one thing, and don't quit your job, if you don't have a backup. Because I didn't. My brother and I both had our jobs, so we started investing. And so we both had our jobs and kept our jobs. We never quit until I got into 10 years ago, until I started the companies, or one company at a time, not all of them, So the first one was 10 years ago. Real estate management was 7 years ago, and Airbnb was 4 years ago.
Wow.
So
You're doing great. You're doing. I love how the synergy works with all your, all three of your businesses work together as one giant, awesome business. So, thank you for hopping on, Cynthia. Where can
Sure.
people find you?
Well, I am in Pensacola. And so what do you want, an email? Do you want websites? What do you want?
Yeah, website, email, that'd be good.
Okay. Well, gulfcoasthomeexperts.com is my main sales brokerage website. Gosh, what is my long-term rental management? I don't even deal with that anymore. That's sad. Everything's on Facebook right now because my Gulf Coast BNBrentals.com website is not as nice as I like it to be. But you can catch me, Cindy, CINDY, at move, MOVE, the number 2, and then FLA, like Florida, FLA.com.
Oh, nice.
And phone number wise, do you give phone numbers too or
You
not?
can,
I mean, I'm a realtor, so my phone number is always on.
Yeah, go ahead.
850-393-5134. That's one thing I'm getting ready to. Well, actually, I'll be in Dallas the end of this month for just a night, and then I'm headed down to Cancun, Mexico, because the trip that we were supposed to go last year just got rescheduled. And so I asked today, we had a sales meeting. I said, okay, who's going to have my phone for 12 days? Because I don't take it with me. So one of the agents, my broker associate, she goes, I don't want it this time, because 2 years ago, I'm a big golf fanatic. Ryder Cup, I was glued to it this past 3 days, but I go to the Solheim Cup for the ladies, and I was in Scotland 2 years ago. So I was gone for 3 weeks, and I left the phone, and she goes, I don't want your phone. I said, so I got another agent who also has short-term rentals, and she goes, I'll take it for the 10 days. I said, okay. That's when you have a good team. When you can leave your phone, go away for 10 to 12 days and come back and everything's still functioning.
Yeah, just give it to a VA in the Philippines to answer the phone calls for you.
Yeah, I haven't really done that. I've heard about it, but I haven't really done that. I'm still pretty old school with people in the office and stuff. I'll pay them a good wage and go with it that way.
Oh, there you go. Well, all right, Cynthia, thank you so much for hopping on.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you here in Dallas, having some cocktails.
I'll stay in touch with you for sure. We'll get together.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. That was Cynthia Tant.
Great interview. Great lady. I love how she does, got one business really, going really strong and then brought in the next one. And a few years later, brought in the next one. There's no rush in this game, right?
Yeah.
Be freaking success at one thing and then expand to the next thing and then get them all to work together. I mean, it's patience, grasshopper.
For real, man. But I'm losing patience. So I gotta I'm gonna have to slow it down. I don't know. I'm ready to hop out of there, man, and be all full time. So yeah, man.
So hit her up. She'll get you a nice place over there in the Emerald Coast. I love it over there. It's beautiful, white sand beaches, and just dodge the sharks while you're in the water. You'd be all right.
The sharks that bad over there?
Not.
Oh, like damn.
They do have every year they have a couple of shark bites, but nothing crazy, right? You might lose a leg or something.
I'm good.
Yeah, but at least it's clear water, so you can see them coming, right?
Is it really clear? It is
crystal clear water. You never been out to the Florida kind of panhandle part?
See, I haven't been to the panhandle. I've been to South Florida. I've been to like the Miami Beach, the tourist beaches.
Yeah. No, right there on the coast, like you said, Destin down to Pensacola, it's all white sand and crystal clear blue waters, man. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. They call it the Redneck Riviera.
Really?
That's what they call it. They call it.
I got it, but I'm gonna go check it out. If it's that beautiful down there, I'm gonna go ahead and check it out.
No, it is really nice. You'll probably want to buy a place there. I've always wanted to get a place in Destin. Of course, prices have always been pretty high over there. And we love Padre too, but the beaches, I'm sorry, Padre don't got nothing on Destin or Pensacola for that matter.
See, but what about the pricing difference? Is it a huge price difference between Padre's cheap though, right?
Padre was cheap. All the beach, areas have gone up big time because of COVID. Even Padre, man. It's like the prices have almost doubled in the last few years. Because everybody was clamoring to get something close to home. So the drivable, so Texans were all, well, shit, we can't go to, because of COVID, we can't go to Mexico anymore. We can't go to South America no more. It's just, so let's get something close by. And then they just started looking in their own backyard. Oh yeah, Padre's nice. And all of a sudden the prices just shot up like crazy. But I think that'll come back down to earth. I think and I wanted to ask Cynthia, but I forgot it, like how beach communities are kind of cyclical, all of a sudden though, everybody wants to buy one. All of a sudden everybody wants to sell them, it's just, but we'll see how that plays out, because in the post-COVID world, I think even though the media wants to keep it going as long as they can, I think it's cooling down.
See, and when the reason I was asking about the snowbird season and how travel had changed because of your friend that you had on this podcast that you work with, and he talked big about that snowbird season. And that's why I was like, I don't really want vacation rentals because it ain't consistent. But I guess it could be consistent now if you have those traveling workers. The nomad community really got highlighted during COVID. So,
oh yeah, it's all how you market your place, right?
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a good show, man.
No.
Watch the Cowboys kick some butt.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I don't know. Jalen Hurts been balling, so we'll see. But yeah. Thank y'all for continuing to listen to us. Follow us, Live Let Thrive on Instagram. Send us an email, liveletthrive@gmail.com, and hit us up. Follow us. Send us your questions, and thank y'all for continuing to listen to us. And we are out.
Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live Let Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.